What's up? Just Stevie Jip in the house. Okay, here's another thing. Okay, anyway, I read on the news or Black Europe this online magazine or blog. It's some crazy stuff happening out in Detroit, around the world and stuff too. Um, this is another thing you guys might want to try, especially young kids listening and stuff. What you gotta understand is that until you turn 30, most people are going to consider you a child. Okay, even people my age and things like that. And as a child, you still need to be how can you say guided and things like that. I mean, you can finish high school. I mean, get a master's by 26 years old, but still don't know anything about life. Or maybe get a job, but because you got other people there who might be more maybe older than you and have more, I guess, experience and things like that, then you can always get how can I say, people can fool you into doing things. So what I'm thinking is that what most parents should do, but if the parents didn't do it, you kids should do it too. Is and actually I read George Rockwell's post, and I meant to do this a long time ago, and I keep forgetting. But we aren't really supposed to remember this, so that's why I did it. But what you guys need to do is you guys need to know that when you are out in the streets at 10 years old, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, that actually you're actually in what they might call a jungle. You know what I'm saying? You are out there and you're learning things on your own, and you don't have anyone out there to properly to guide you or to show you what's right or wrong. You got people out there that's doing things, but for the most part, most people are gonna end up, with the wrong people, and you might say even, well, that my friends are cool, but I mean, if you live in a house, and this pertains to all people, or your mother and father fights in front of you, or your father, there's domestic violence, or against you, or anything that's going on. Well, if you're living in that kind of an environment at home, then outside, who's going to actually be there to give you this guidance and stuff like that? So what I'm saying is that you're going to have to really take the time while you have it to gain as much information as you can. And what I mean is, what you should do, just like I said in my other videos, black men should not have sex until they turn 20, till after they turn 22, or they finish college, or they got a good job, or they started something, something like that. Because all it's going to do is just create and I'm not saying this to not have babies. What I'm saying is, if you do get a girl, pregnant, and then you don't stay together with her, and then that child grows up in a single home, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not the problem. The problem is going to be what kind of guidance that child gets. Okay, and then this is my point: is that the mother, the father, whomever, they should they should keep their kids at home. If your kids go out in the streets, let them go to the library, go someplace where they can learn something. To a museum, or to things, but just not like on the weekends just hanging out the mall doing nothing, because that's when you usually get in trouble, because you got other people out there who are bored, don't have a life, and they might see you having fun, and they might come and disturb you while you having fun. I'm not having fun. If you spend most of your time in the house, and if you have a computer, you increase your vocabulary, like I said in my other videos, for black children. The reason that a lot of black children are doing poor in school is due to the fact that I believe that the teachers are not teaching these children in their language that the children speak, and that's very important. If you see it, like my son the other day, he's doing, I guess, geometry, but he's on in 4th grade, but he's doing angles and stuff, right? So he had a 30, 60, 90 triangle next to a 40, 45, 45, 45, 90 triangle, and it was to the point where you got 180 degrees in the I think it's isosceles, no, not isosceles, I forgot. But anyway, the tangent, or I guess the long line, I guess would be the tangent line. It was how can I say it? Up against the 45-degree line, and then he had to find that missing angle. From the 45 plus, my 180 degrees minus 45. So he was just sitting there, and I was just saying, well, think about it. And I said, okay, well, write what you know, what you see, write what you know. So he filled in everything. I said, okay, what's missing? He said, oh, okay, and then he understood. And what I'm saying is, if you stay home and you start studying, and you don't worry about the definitions, especially in math and sciences and stuff like that. If you got problems, if you got the word problems there, I mean the effectual problems there. But some things, when you got symbols and stuff, you do got to know that stuff. But then, that's just going to take time. But if you go home and you stay home, and you study during the weekends. Like if you're out in the streets during a Saturday at a mall or something, you're out. 5 hours just walking around the mall. That 5 hours can be spent at some very, very quality studying time. And the wonderful thing about studying is when you study, it really opens your mind and you start to understand. And then your mind starts, you start understanding, you start seeing things, and your mind start kicking in. It's going to want more and more information and more information. They got this thing out that's called Know Thyself, and a lot of people, they have what it is, learn to love yourself and this and that. But the whole thing is, I'm thinking that love yourself, learn, know yourself, and all that stuff is going to be to understand how your body functions. Know thyself. Who are you? Your flesh and blood. Know how. The mechanics. All that stuff is your body movement. It's the same thing. There's no reason. That's why I say in my videos, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do math, because you are math. Why you shouldn't be able to do mechanics and physics and all of that stuff. Because every time you're walking around, every time you jump, and that's propelling or something like that, propulsion and stuff. The pressures and stuff that's in your body. The blood is going through those veins, and how much pressure is going through that. It's actually pushing your that blood through your veins, and these cells are passing from one thing to another thing, and then the chemistry in there, the water breaks down to this and it breaks down to that, and then something else breaks down, and sugar's added to here and it changes to that, and all that stuff that you are studying happens in your body. So when you go to school and you learn this stuff, then you have to say, hey, I'm learning about me. I'm learning about how I function and things like that. Because, they say most people only use 10% of their brain, and they really haven't figured out how the brain works. They just hear and they just try. But if somebody figures out how to unlock it where you can use the whole 100%, watch out. Because if it's a bad person, we're all in trouble. You know what I'm saying? But please do that stuff. Just sit there and try. To increase your vocabulary, just get a dictionary. Online dictionary, start at the first word. If you have a word, you don't understand what it means, they got the little speaker thing. Click it, it'll tell you the definition. If you can't figure out what it means in your head, Google it, and something else will pop up, like the picture of it or a better description of it. If you have vocabulary words that you don't know, then look up a synonym, another word that means the same thing, and it might be a little easier for you to understand. I always talk about mutual English and stuff like that. Mutual English, what I mean is, like, if you have somebody that's living in New York and you got somebody living in the country, and it don't matter what you look like, everyone, when they're at home, they have a certain language that their parents speak, well, their grandparents speak, and then the parent, the kids speak it, and everyone speaks that. And what the disadvantage of black children is that that a lot of white people, or quote unquote white people, supposed to have, is the vocabulary. A lot of professionals, when they go to work, they're speaking the same language they speak at their jobs at home. So their children to get a chance to learn these words, these so-called quote unquote big words and stuff like that. But a lot of young black children, they don't get to learn that, because their mothers or their fathers at home still, talking the street, the normal street language and stuff, So then when they do go to school, you got to really have to learn this new mutual English. And this mutual English, I call it mutual English again, is because for you to for them to write a book that'll accommodate all the different speech habits and the way people combine their words, mom, and all this stuff, and there's all some crazy stuff that's going on out there in the streets. It would be just too much. So instead of doing that, what they did was they created new vocabulary that everyone needs to understand, and that's why they have synonyms and all of this stuff, so that other people so that you can understand it. You might get some words you don't understand, but you got to understand one thing: is that English is only 20% of the language that you speak is English. The rest of it is French, maybe some German, Latin and stuff like that. So basically what you're doing, like I said, you're learning a mutual language. It's really, you're just learning a foreign language, basically. But English words, they, what is it? They use a lot of the words because England was a country who had a country that was conquered by other countries, so people from England, they can't say they're pure, they're not, even the language isn't pure, they mix French people and whatever, so it's like the word dental, that's a French word, I think for tooth or something like that, so they use these words, and so these things that you guys really need to understand. If you sit at home and you just take your time and study, don't go outside. Your friends say, hey, come outside. You say, no, you come in. Let's do this together. Change your conversations and stuff. Why is it that, your heart beats without you telling it to do it? Why is it that, when you're breathing, that the oxygen comes in and the carbon dioxide come out and all of this stuff. You guys have to understand it. And it's there on the internet for free. And the more you learn, the more you are. Okay, now I'm reading this book called From Babylon to Timbuktu, and it talks about the